Hi, I'm Ravari.
And I'm Rabbanit Laura from Mizrahi in Manchester. And we are here today to go through some pointers how to make this Rosh Hashannah meaningful.
Okay, what we're going to look at today is, firstly, how we can make our home feel like Yom Tov, ideas for making Rosh Hashanah a special day that stands out in the minds of our children. We are then going to look at 4 different themes: Tshuva, creation of the world, Shofar, and making Hashem king, so that we can really engage with our kids. And at the end, there's going to be a bonus, how to take pomegranate seeds out of the pomegranate without getting dirty. Stick around to the end. Also see the comments section where we're going to leave ideas, structures for the meals, and we also encourage you to share your websites, your ideas to make Rosh Hashanah meaningful for everyone. But before we begin, I want to just say one word of warning. It's all stressful for everyone. Let's make this Rosh Hashanah benachat, as we would say in Hebrew. Let's make it a time when we enjoy it as much as possible. It's going to be difficult for everyone. These are only suggestions. These are only some ideas. If you can do them, great. If you can't, we're all there. Let's try and make it as much besimcha for our kids as possible.
Create the atmosphere of Chag in your home. Have songs playing before the Chag starts, singing throughout the meals, Yom Tov clothing, dressed in your finest, simanim for the table. Have your children create their own creative ideas. Think about the birthday and the creation of the world. Decorate your table. It's the little things that count. Draw pictures and buy a gift for your child. You can create a honey jar with little notes that you can put in about how you want to make the world a better place, mitzvot that you've done, and take them out and read them, surprise them at your meal.
The other thing which you want to try and do is also create like a permanent structure. Make sure you say some of the tefillot you normally say with them, Shema, the Amidah. You can add a little bit of songs, perhaps that they know about Rosh Hashanah, Avinu Malkeinu, whatever it is, but make sure there's time for tefillah. Make sure as well you get out to hear the shofar with them if you can, as much as possible, and also take them to Tashlich on the second day. Again, as much as possible, try and involve them, obviously within your abilities.
Meal times. You can have themes at each meal, not only discussion, but as we said, singing, role-playing, games, a bit of everything. Take out that honey jar. And also make sure to always weave in personal stories about your history with your family, previous Yom Tovs. That always creates a very engaging environment.
And just a reminder, in the comments, we're going to put down a suggested structure for those that want, but feel free to create your own. Feel free to make suggestions. The 4 themes that we think are interesting to talk about with your children are Tshuva, creation of the world, the Shofar, and making Hashem as king. In terms of Tshuva, ask them, how do we say sorry to people? Get them to perhaps role play how you say sorry to people. Outline for them the stages of Tshuva. You have to ask for forgiveness. You have to ask how you can make it right. Promise not to do again, and also don't do it again. But you can role play it out. Try and drag it out with them. Say, get Moshe to play with Tehillah and say, I broke your doll. What can I do? And tease out from them how they think tshuva should be, and indicate how that ties into the tshuva we do on Rosh Hashanah. We can also ask, is tshuva received just by praying to Hashem, and make clear to them that that's not the case, that they also need to personally go and ask for forgiveness from people who they've harmed. Ask them also perhaps at the table, what can we do better? That's another nice activity. What can we do better next year? And also obviously remind them, what have we done well this year? Talk about the mitzvot that they've done, and ask each one to perhaps suggest one. That's also where this idea of the honey jar comes in.
Can speak about the creation of the world and how the world was created with imperfections, so that leaves room for us, our responsibility to contribute, to make the world a better place. Our actions have an effect. And thinking about Corona, right? By keeping the Corona guidelines as an example, we have the ability to affect and impact the entire world.
It's the small little actions that each child can do by keeping the regulations that actually have a big impact, and that's a great way of thinking about creation of the world, together with the idea that it's the birthday of the world. Ask them to think about birthdays and what birthdays should represent. Is it only about celebrating, or should it also be a cause for introspection? Again, involve them in that kind of discussion as much as is possible. Shofar. What does the shofar represent us? You can ask them what it sounds like to them, what emotions it stirs within them. You can also talk to them about the different aspects of shofar, what it means. Shofar is the ancient way of declaring kings, and that's what we're doing to Hashem. Shofar is a sound of crying. A shofar also can sound happy. But shofar also calls us to wake up, and it's also a cry to war. Discuss that with them. What does that mean about Rosh Hashannah? Ask them, engage them as much as is possible, their own experience of shofar, and again, as much as possible, relate to them stories, personal stories of your time in shul on Rosh Hashannah and elsewhere where you heard the shofar, perhaps a meaningful moment, as much as is possible.
Fourthly, Hashem as king and as our father. How do we feel when we are in the presence of a king? How could we imagine that? Is it different to how we feel in the presence of our father? And as we know, this time is about HaMelech B'Sadeh. The king is in the field. He is close to us. He wants us to do tshuva. He calls us to return to him. And he also believes in us. He knows that we can. And as parents too, how we relate to our children, we believe in them. We empower them. We know that they can become the best version of themselves.
So those are the 4 themes perhaps to talk about. Tshuva, creation of the world, shofar, and Hashem as king. And now to the bonus session, how to remove seeds from a pomegranate without getting dirt. So first of all, as you can see, I'm wearing an apron. But now I'm going to show you my method, which I learned from my friend Yedidia Mandelbaum, how to get rid of the seeds. You're going to need a couple of pomegranates, a knife, a wooden spoon. You're going to need a chopping board and a glass bowl or any bowl. It's better the smaller bowls, to be honest. And this is very easy, 2 seconds, hopefully without a lot of mess. You take the pomegranate, you cut it in half. Now it's very important that you cut it this way so that the 2 chupchiks here are on the outside and the pomegranate opens like this. You know you've done it right if you see that lovely star shape. You then take the pomegranate, you hold it over the bowl and a little bit inside to avoid any kind of issues. You take your wooden klopper, which is very, very important, and then in an act of absolute grace, you go as follows. You turn it a bit. Again, keeping it inside. This is a very Israeli way of doing it. And at the end, most of the seeds are out and you have your pomegranates. So hopefully that'll be good siman. We'll all have a lot of zchuyot, just like a rimon. So thank you for being with us. Please share your comments below, thoughts you have, ideas you have, websites you have, anything that will help us make Rosh Hashanah more real. We're also going to be posting in the comments breakdowns for different meals and ways to break down the themes for those that want.
Reframe. See this as an opportunity. One of the opportunities that we can share past experiences. For me personally, engraved in my memory is standing beside my mother in shul during the Tana Tokef, feeling the magnitude of the moment of what this year, of what Rosh Hashanah is all about.
It really is a difficult time, but there are opportunities to connect and connect with our children. We wish you all a Shana Tova Umetuka.